That's a great looking logo.
Okay, thank you. So this I don't have too many slides, just maybe 2 or 3. But most of the time I'll be spending on the application to show around the functionality what I'm want to show you. So about me, my name is Krishna Rachakonda. I'm a senior consultant at CompuSoft Integrated Solutions. Actually, I'm working with the Catapult Systems in Houston area. I'm a Power Automate community super user. If you are not aware of this super user program, Microsoft Power Platform has different community forums like for the Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, Power BI, and many other products. And for each of them, like we can really ask questions there, and tons of users who are actively participating in those forums to respond to all your questions. So I'm also active in both the Power Automate and the Power Apps communities. In the Power Automate community, I'm a super user, but Power Apps community, I'm a regular contributor as well. Apart from that, apart from like answering the questions, I do provide some solutions like building some apps or components within the Power Apps and upload into the community forum. And also occasionally make some YouTube videos explaining some of the use cases which I implemented for different customers, which may be helpful for other users as well. So, and again, blogging, it is part of the community forum. So the reason I've actually I was not doing these presentations or blogging or contributions to the community earlier, but I felt and realized that doing these activities, one thing is I'm contributing to the community. Second, very important thing is I'm learning a lot of stuff apart from my regular work, which is helping me taking good decisions on my implementations. So because I see every day like at least 30 different use cases, which helps me to plan well and architecting the solutions in a better way. So, and these are all the contact information about like my email ID or a Twitter or in LinkedIn. So you can always contact me through that. So that's all about myself. Before we go into the Azure monitoring service or Azure application insights, I would like to directly jump into the application to show you a few things. Let me just, yeah, okay. I actually provisioned my new Office 365 site recently, like earlier this week. So I would like to show you all of that, and also different features before I get into the Azure application insights. So in Power Apps, we Power Apps is a very user-friendly or developer-friendly platform through which we can develop business applications within no time. And initially it was a no code, but now it's a low code solution, and we can create these applications so fast. With that easiness, entire organizations, all the organizations, professional developers and citizen developers, everybody was start developing things. And some of the business applications are basically very important for the business to run every day, because those applications are used across, used by thousands of or hundreds of users every single day. So we, as a admin or as a developer or an architect or a business stakeholder, I would like to know how many users are hitting or accessing this application, and how are this application is really responding for my user needs. Is it really working good as expected? Or to get all these analytics information, Microsoft already provided few functionality or features within the Power Platform. So if I actually created a couple of apps in my personal tenant here. One is a budget tracker and asset tracking. I did not actually create them. I did not create them from the scratch. There are already Microsoft provided some templates to create the Power Apps. If you are not aware of the templates, it's very easy. Once you go, if we from the Microsoft Office apps, just launch the Power Apps, and you will be here in this user interface or the page, and click on the apps. And on the top left, here you see the new app, create a Canvas app. And then in the Canvas app, we will given a multiple options here. We can create the apps based on the data, or we can create a blank app completely with a different layout like a phone or a tablet, or we can use the third option, use an existing app template like a phone of a phone or tablet. So if I select either of the templates, let's select a tablet layout, it will give me all the existing different app templates. So I used asset checkout and also the budget tracker. There are multiple options are here, and all of them are using OneDrive data connection. And as soon as we select any of these app templates, what happens is once you select the template and click on use button, it immediately creates the Power Apps folder in your OneDrive. And within the Power Apps folder, it creates a templates folder. Under that, it creates the respective app folder. And within that, it creates all the required artifacts like the images and all the data. The data is residing within the Excel file. And again, within the Excel file, it has multiple worksheets to store different data. And each is one Excel table there. That's how it is using all the built-in templates. So this is what I use to create these couple of apps, which I showed you earlier, the budget tracker and asset tracking. So before I go into the application insights, I would like to talk about a couple of features here. Then we will then that will give us an understanding why do we need Azure's application insights. What's the use of it? So let me, I'll select the first application, budget tracker. As soon as I select it, on the top, I can see a couple of options. One is monitor, the other one is analytics. Monitor feature will basically help us to see the traffic to and fro from the app to the data source. Also the actions that the user is performing on the app between based on the user actions on the app, how is the traffic going between the data source and the app. So we'll use this monitoring feature is very, very useful, especially if you want to troubleshoot any issues, as well as if you want to see, we know like within the Power App, we write so many formulas and we use lots of functions like filter, distinct, lookup, so many functions we write. Sometimes using correct function is always we need to follow a lot of best practices. What will happen is it takes a long time to query the data. Initially, when we build the app, the data set is very small. So maybe 1 record or 10 records or 100 records. But as the time goes, we maybe the application will store maybe hundreds of, thousands of items. So that during that time, we will run into so many issues like a delegation issue, or we will run into the slow query issues, because the kind of functions that we used in the first place will make a difference. So that's why like monitoring is really a good feature through which we can identify all such issues with respect to the performance or with respect to any issues with the application as well. So in this first thing, what I would like to show you is how it works briefly, and then we'll go into the analytics, and then we'll jump into the Azure analytics. So the first one is monitoring. Let me just launch it. So to launch this, I selected the app here and then click on monitor. So as soon as I click on monitor, it opened another tab with all the interface for the monitoring. So from here, the traffic won't start immediately. We need to, again, there is a button here, play published app. So the last published or the live version of the app will be, we need to play that app. Just click on that button, which plays that app, which is a budget tracker app. If you see on the top, it gives us a message saying you are connected to the monitor debug session. So as soon as we click on, the message will go away in a few seconds. After that, we will see the normal app. And as when we load this app in the next tab, the monitor tab or the window will already started loading some traffic information, means all the information. So when the Power App loads, it performs some of the operations. So it loaded the screen. If we see the load screen, it took 113 milliseconds. The next one, navigate function, which took 276 seconds to navigate to the budget screen. And then within the budget screen to load different elements on the screen, that budget tracking main screen, I got multiple galleries here. Each gallery is basically talking to the data source, which is my Excel file here, and it is trying to load the data into these galleries. So each row here in the monitor, like a get rows. If we see here, it is basically trying to query the data from different Excel tables, like one is budgets, categories, receipts, and many other. So it's trying to do all those operations. We can track all of them. So, and also when I can also see, for example, I can click on this each row and I can get additional details as well. What are the details? Means what's the status of this particular request, how much time it took, response, all other details, and formula. And this formula should be it should display, but some reason it's not displaying in my screen. Maybe I'm using incognito window. That may be the reason, but we should see what is the exact formula that we used within the app. So we'll see that. And also the request, what is that request, how it looks like, and what's the HTTP response as well. The response from the data source as well. So that's what it is. And also I was a couple of things we can use this monitor option to resolve a couple of issues. One is performance related issues. The other one is any application related issues as well. So let me just actually close this. Yeah. So performance related issues, we can see here the formulas, if they are taking too much time here, if the data size is too huge, and if we are trying to get the whole data set into the application, like thousands of rows into the application, then we'll see significant duration time. That's when that needs our attention to revise your Power Apps formula or by using better functions. So for example, simple example is if you compare lookup versus filter. Filter, what it will do is it will basically filter the whole data source. Whereas lookup means it will try to identify the matching criteria, and as soon as the first element it matches, it returns that element. And so we need to see whether I need multiple records or a single record. Based on that, I should be using filter versus lookup. Sometimes what in some of the even I started coding, like I used to do the filter, and after that use the first option on top, first function on top of the filter, that will give the first record. That was very wrong approach. We should be using a lookup function in the place of filter function. So those kind of, the duration is one which will help us to see the performance of the queries. The second thing is application issues, how we can identify and fix the application issues. For example, here I want to make some changes in the data. So before I make the change, what I would like to do is I want to open the Excel file. When I open the Excel file, what happens is it locks the Excel file, means it doesn't allow any other process to make any changes into the Excel file. So I'll try to make some changes in this application here, the data. Let's say I want to delete these expenses. What will happen is, see, the requested resource is locked. That's what it is showing me. I mean, because my Excel file is opened in another tab, this app is not allowing me to make any changes in the Excel file. And we can also see the same error in the monitoring as well. So I try to delete an expense from here, and in the delete operation, I can see the details here. This is what happened, and the response we can see clearly the same message what we saw on the app. Cannot write file to file source. File is being locked because I opened the Excel file. So like this, we can see all the application errors also. So so monitoring is very, very useful in case if the app is heavily used, and we can use this monitoring as a debugger tool. Just like our Visual Studio, how we used to debug, we can use this monitoring tool to debug the PowerApps application. So one other thing with few other advantages with this monitoring is we can download entire transaction information, or this whole trace information. We can download it, and when we download it, it will be downloaded as in the form of JSON. So the JSON is a very standard universal format that we have been using in the Power Platform. So this is the JSON format we got for the whole trace. And in case if I want any developers in my team want them to fix the issue, I can simply export this trace and send it to them, and they can upload the trace, and they can see the issue, and then they can fix it. And the other way to share these trace information with other users is to invite. Using invite option, we can actually call or invite other people to invite into this monitoring session, and they can see the same trace information while troubleshooting. So that's really a very good very good feature. So this is all about monitoring. The reason I started is there are different tools that we can use for different purpose. Like monitoring is the very basic tool that we can use it for our unit testing, as well as to fix all the application and performance issues. So if we are not happy with all the information here, then the next stage is like next high level information we can see is by using the analytics. Means analytics will give you completely different set of information, but monitoring will only give you the troubleshooting information. Let me just close this, and we will close the app as well. Now we will go into the analytics. Analytics will give us very high level information. And also this analytics related to this particular app. It is not for every app. I mean, all the apps, it's not combined together, but it's individual to the app. And in the analytics tab, we can see multiple categories: usage, performance, and location. If my usage base, this data is related to one app, and I launched around 9 sessions over the period of time. So I can see from what platforms were used, like mobile or web browser or iOS apps. So I can see from which platform I launched these apps, and also what version of the Power App was used, and also the region wise. If my users are spread across multiple regions, I can see how many sessions were launched from each region, date wise, and all of that. So this is the usage information, but if we go to the performance has different statistics there. So the time to launch the first screen, and these are very standard reports. So there is no extensibility. I mean, we can't extend these reports from this admin center, but there are options. We will be exploring that in the Azure application insights. So there are multiple reports here again with the slicers that are provided here, which will help us to filter the data based on the requirement. And the last one is the location. If the users are coming from different regions or different places, we can see from where exactly the users are coming from. I mean, in my case, I used only one region, like the United States, and I launched 9 sessions, so we see only this data. And also here we can see only last 30 days data. We can't change this number. This is like a hard, I mean, fixed for the admin reports. So I want more customized reports. I want to have very specific information, or I want to build my own dashboards for my business critical applications. How I can do it. So with the monitoring, as it is more of a development tool or a troubleshooting tool, with analytics, I can only get very high level. But I want to have more granular troubleshooting information, as well as more dashboards I want to build with custom information. That is when I need, that's where I can use Azure's application insights. So going back to my slide. So Azure has around 600 plus cloud services. There are so many services which provides like virtual machines or networks, load balancers, and databases, and so many other services. There are 600 plus cloud services. So every service has their own, I mean, they are providing high level information, monitoring or other information, but the centralized monitoring service is provided by the Azure Monitor service. What it does is it once all these services, whatever services we configure, they read once we enable them to read all the transaction or the trace information, we can, I mean, the monitor service will basically get all the information from various data sources and converts them or place them in couple of data sources or data stores. One is a metrics and the other one is logs. Metrics is more of, I mean, the data in the metrics data store is helpful to build the dashboards, graphs, and lots of reports. But logs data store will help us to build a lot of, I mean, help us to see item level trace information. Means I want to know what exactly happened between a time frame. What's the logging information I want my application logged into the Azure Insights. I can see all of that in the logs. So every detailed tracing information that we can see in the logs. Metrics is only meant for building some dashboards like the graphs or lines, bars, different kinds of charts. And metrics stores the data in terms of numbers, which is like very good. It's useful for building the different charts and bars, all of that. Okay, so going back, how now I would like to use the Azure Insights, which is again going back. Sorry for that. So these data stores and also additional functionalities like insights, visualization, analyzation, response, and integrate. These are the different categories which will help us to do different things on collected information. One is application insights. This is one we are going to use today on the Power App. Rest of the things like containers, VM, and monitoring solution, these are all out of the scope for this session. But this is for different purpose to like getting the tracing or logging information from different sources. And visualization, dashboards, views, Power BI, workbooks, we will see some of this today. And analyzation, reports, alerts, everything we can see when we configure the Azure Insights. So we'll get into that now. So to configure the so I'll take all the questions at the end. I should have mentioned that earlier. If you have any questions in the meantime, please place them in the chat window, and I'll take all those questions at the end. So to configure the Azure Insights, the very first step is we should be a global admin, or we can work with a global admin to set up that Azure Insights. Because it's a more of a monitoring, and it will happen centrally, and more global admin has access rather than normal individual users. So it's always work with global admin to get this started. So now to set that up, to start setting up Azure Insights, what very first thing is we need to have a Azure subscription first. So either, I mean, this is my personal tenant. I created a trial subscription. So this, the very first step is creating a subscription. So I got a trial subscription here. Again, to creating a subscription is very easy, but it requires a credit card payment. I mean, credit card details. It won't charge for the trial one. If you select pay as you go, depending on your usage, it will be charged. So create a subscription, Azure subscription by logging into portal.azure.com. So once you log in into portal.au.com, it will show you the subscription. If you don't see it here, you can just type it on the top search bar. You will get a subscriptions option here. Once you select the subscriptions, then you can add a subscription. You can provide all the details here. In my case, I already have a subscription, which is a free trial subscription. I created that a few days ago, which is free services for 12 months. So for this demo, I'm using this subscription. Once a subscription is created, then I need to again search application insights. Then I need to search for application insights. That's the feature I need to select, or the service I need to select. Once I click on that, I can create any number of application insights. So generally, like if you have many business applications, it is always recommended to create one application insight for each business application. That way, like all the statistics, all the tracing that you want to see, you can actually separate between the applications. There is no cost involved in creating multiple application insights, because all these application sites are tied up with one subscription that you have, or you can select multiple subscriptions. One application site insights can map to one subscription. So let me just create one application insight here. So when I want to create a new application insights, it basically asks us to select the subscription what I want to use. So I already used the in trial one. I need to mention a resource group, and then the name, region, where is that application insight should reside, and also the resource model, classic versus work-based. Let's select the classic one. And after I click and select it, I will get the application insights will be created. So I'll show you the existing one, just like this. It creates everything. So once I create an application insight, then in the ORU section, we see a instrumentation key. This is the main important key I need to have to plug in with the Power App. So I need to we need to copy this instrumentation key, and now go to the Power App. which application I want to monitor using Azure Insights. I just need to open that application, edit it. You need to be either owner or co-owner of this application to edit the application. So once you edit it, the very first option, or very in the left side in the tree view, in the very first one we see is app. Just select that app. In the app's properties, the last property is instrumentation key. We just need to copy and paste that new application insights instrumentation key right here. And after you place it, just save the app. And once you start, once we save the app from after it published, let's say, I mean, it will take 30 minutes to start capturing all the trace information. So once you publish it and once you start using the app, it will take 30 minutes to get all the tracing into the Azure Insights, because lots of background process needs to run in the background. So it will take good 30 minutes, but sometimes it may take less and more, but that's the process. So once I start using the app, lots of information will be captured. And this is much more, so I mean, we can see more granular information in the application insights when we compare with monitoring or the analytics information. So we'll explore some of these sections here. One thing is alerts. I do not have any alerts right here, but we can create many alerts here in case if my application is down, means if my application is having some issues or it's unable to connect to the data source. If we see any kind of errors, I can create an alert here, and then it can send a notification directly to me. So this application insights, this is one of the place where I can get all the alerts are generally set up in this alerts place and under the monitoring. And the next one is workbooks. Workbooks are like they are predefined reports or predefined I would say, yeah, predefined reports. Basically, they will show you like recent. I mean, there are multiple reports. It's already built like performance. I want to see the performance analysis of my application and app performance. These are all pre-built. As soon as we come here, we can see that all these reports. So if I click on it, I can see the data. But I launched only 9 and the time range I want to see last 7 days. Unfortunately, I don't have any data, but apps, any 3, no, I want only for this. I don't see any data here, but we can see all the different reports from here with respect to the performance and other areas. So let me just click on this. I'll come here, user retention impact, increasing active users. It's all monthly active users. I can see last 28 days and pays in last 3 days. Okay, only active user. I mean, I have only one service account or my personal account. It is accessing, so it's only one active user. So the metrics is, again, it uses different metrics information we can capture from here. So I mean, in all these sections, I'm very curious to show you, or I'm interested to show you a few of the things here. Or first thing is user flows. This is very this is the only place I can see this information. We will not find this information from other locations or places. So let's see the user flows. In my app, I may be having 10 screens or 1 screen or 5 screens. I would like to know, I have maybe 1,000 users. I want to know what is the maximum used path, means in which path my users are all navigating, or in my application, how they are using my application, which screens are most accessible or most accessed screens by the end users. I want to see all that information, and that can be found in this Azure Application Insights user flows. You can see from here there were 15 sessions that were launched. Let me just maximize a little bit. There were 15 sessions launched, all of them like the very first step, and on app start is the first one, and after that budget screen, because budget screen is the first screen. After that, 7 sessions, they went directly from budget screen to new screen, and 3 sessions, session ended right there. Third, I mean, delete expense and add expense. These are all different screen in my app. And also, if you see the lines between step 1 and the rest of the steps, some are very thick, some are very thin. The reason is the number of sessions which accessed in this path are less, I mean small. If we see this thin line, it is just one session. That's why the line is also very thin. But if we see here, it's a 7 sessions. That's why the line is very thick. So it's very graphically we can easily identify, oh, this is the path all the users are navigating my applications. This is the most accessed path. And also, if you see here, there are only 3 steps, previous steps and next steps. Right now it's only 3, but we can set up to 9. 9 means, for example, now I accessed budget screen, I went to new budget screen. I mean, I may be navigating, my application may be having only 3 screens, but what is my whole navigation path? I may be navigating from one screen to another and coming back and forth. I may be navigating like that, but the session may exist for a long time. So I want to see the 9 steps. 9 steps will give you more information. Let's see. Yeah, if we see here, I think yeah, this is the 9-step one. Means even though my app has only 3 screens or 4 screens, I can get up to 9 steps, which I'm interested. So if I scroll here and we see here, the user 15 sessions, they started with budget screen, they went to new budget screen. After that, again, they came back to budget screen. And after that, they again go to add expense screen. So I can see how the flow of the screens, how the user is navigating between the screens, what is his sequence of operations, and how he is navigating between various screens for different operations, and what is the common path or what is the general path most of the users are taking. So we can analyze all of this and try to see if some user, if we can improve the user interface, we can improve it to minimize the access paths. For example, if I'm not providing a direct access to one screen from a different screen, due to that, if the user needs to navigate 2 different screens, that is a performance. I mean, we can address that by looking at this flow. And also we can also identify how the users are using the application. This is very, very helpful for analyzing the application with respect to how the users are really using the application. And the other important information is logs. And also here, before I go into the logs, actually, I can also set my screen. The initial event right now, it is only set to on start. But if I want to see my graphical user interface specific to one screen, like budget screen or a delete budget screen, something, I can set that and click on create graph. It will generate the graph accordingly based on my setting on here. What happens before and after delete budget screen? So we can see the path. So this is all helpful. I mean, it's more, it's really configurable to get the data. So it's definitely helpful to analyze the app, how the different users are using your app. And the other one is logs. Logs are also pretty helpful here. This is the place where I can find my trace information. Trace information in the sense, the Azure Insights monitors and captures every single details with respect to your network access or data source access or your applications operations. Everything will be captured within this. So I want to see all the operations. I can come to this and I can see that. And here it also helps us to query the tracing information. So for example, let's say I want to, there are already in the query history, I can see what were the queries I used previously. So I can simply run it. What it will do is it will just put the query. I forgot the name. What is that? Query logic or the name of the query? Yeah, just a second. It's a, I forgot the language. What is it called? It is very easy or very, I mean, it's a query language. So here we can just like if you see, I want to query all the page views where the timestamp is greater than 24 hours and but limit to only 1,000 items. So when I do that and when I run it, I can see all the tracing information here. So I can see all the trace information. So how far this trace information is helpful? It all depends how what exactly you are looking into the trace information. So one other thing that I really advise or recommend to doing it is in the Power App. Generally, the Power App is always accessed by the end users, and whenever they are accessing it, they they may see some errors on the top of the application when the app is running, right? When the app is running here, when they run into any error, like previously when I tried to open the Excel file and when I try to delete an item here, it showed me an error like on the top of the screen, and it just flashes for a few seconds and goes away, and the user may not capture and give that information, but I can log that information into the application insights. In this location, I can log into the application insights. How I can do it is by using a function called trace. PowerApps has a function called a trace. So let me just show you. I did one. So let's cancel this and I'll go back. So what I did was whenever I want to delete any expense from here, I want to log some tracing information. So for example, on this button, when the user clicks on the delete, I want to write some trace into the application insights. So I use that. I used a function called trace, PowerApps function trace. This is the message. Message means the ID of the message, you can say. I mean, this is what we can use to identify the trace in the Azure Insights. And this is the trace severity. It is an error. We can log different kinds of severity. It provides critical error information, warning. These are the 4 different types. So I made it like an error, and we can this right now I'm passing only 4. It is a record type. The third parameter is of type record, and right now I'm just passing only 4 parameters within the record, but we can provide custom messages as well. So once this button we can write this trace function when, for example, my patch is like it, we are asking here to patch this expense by category with based on particular criteria and write it. What happens if this criteria doesn't match and it can't find the value and the patch never happens? So I want to know what happened. Also, sometimes the patch function fails because of some reason. If I did not provide adequate information here, or if there is any problem in the data, my patch function will fail. So what should I be doing here? So I can simply set the patch function like set variable patch some return value or something. Then I can set here, I can include like here. And then in the function, I can check in the if condition, if var patch value dot if I can check whether it is I mean, it will return basically an item, the whole item it will return. The item it get patched. So I will get all the attributes of that particular item. So I can check, I can put a condition here whether it really patched or not. If it did not patch, I can throw it, I can write a trace function to write into my application insights. So this is one way we can write some exception handling. There are many other functions like if error. If you see there is a PowerApps function if error, and many other error handling functions are there in the PowerApps. So we can use all these functions, and based on the conditions, if I want to troubleshoot any end user issues, I can use this trace to directly write into the application insights. So once the information is written into the application trace, I can actually query it. If some user reports, hey, I submitted it, but it did not update my records. So I already have some trace statements there. So I can really go back and check my application insights to get that information. So how can I do that in the logs? If we see here, I already wrote a small query here. From the traces, I would like to know where is the message budget tracking log. That's my message I'm searching for. When I search for it, I got three of them, three of the traces here. And here, if I see here and in the custom dimensions, I see all my information, whatever I'm sending from the Power App into the application insights using the trace, I can see all that information here. The user email, username, and other feedback value and other. Right now, I did not send any custom message, but we can send custom message and custom login information I can put. So this is what we can do with the application insights, logging into the application insights from the Power App. And the other thing, this is very, like I would say, I'm just explaining a drop in the ocean because lots of functionality is embedded within the application insights. If we need to, I mean, there is a lot of potential. I mean, a lot of features are embedded within this one. Each one is very good, and I mean, a lot of advantage we can get out of each of these items. So, and also here, the next thing is if you want to see availability results or browsing timings, we don't need to learn this coding or the query logic, but it also helps you to give you, I mean, it will give you some samples as well. So for example, browser timings, I can go and click on this preview data. I can just set it. I mean, I can see the preview of the data, and also it will help us to favorites. Browsing times, I can set the favorites so that it can comes under favorites as well. And the other thing is we can export this data as well. We can export the data to, for example, for this query, if I run the query, I got these 3 instances of the trace. I can export to CSV file of all columns or displayed columns, and also I can export to Power BI as well. Power BI means here it will give us only M query. What does that mean is, for example, let's see a different one. Page views, I got it. Let me come back. Response time trend. Okay. Operations performance. Let me run this. No results found. Okay. Results. Okay, I think I will take the small one, whatever I know. So in the trace, if we see the query history, I will just run the same thing. This may not be a good example, but I would like to show you how we can build our own custom dashboards or different Power BI reports out of these application insights. So what I can do is I can build my own query which provides me the required data. And after I get my data here, I can actually export it to the export to Power BI. It is nothing but it's a simple M query. if you see the query here, it is it is very lightweight query. It doesn't have any data. It basically tells you it's a JSON. It's trying to connect the application insights for the particular specific app, and it also mentions the query, what query I'm looking for. So it is very simple. So once we get this Power BI query, once I export it, I can see it in the notepad. Open your Power BI desktop. I did not open that, but here Power BI desktop, I'm opening it here. Let me just, it's taking a second. Yeah, it is trying to load it here. Yeah. Yep, it loaded. Let me just. Okay, so I got the Power BI desktop here. All I need to do is transform data, I think. No, it's this, not this one. Yeah, blank query. I can paste. No, not this one. Yeah, advanced editor. I was sorry. So just to open the advanced editor, and then the notepad which I opened earlier with the M query, I'll just copy the entire M query, including all of it. I'll just close it, and in this place I just need to replace it with my M query. So if you see here, as soon as I place the query here, there are no syntax errors. It's already validated my whole JSON stuff, and all the M query is kind of validated. And then click on done. As soon as I'm done, the access it is now access is forbidden for some reason because it's using a different credentials. So we need to open the Power desktop with the same credentials. So, I mean, I can get all the information directly. So that's what we can do. I need to troubleshoot this forbidden access, but yeah. So that's what we can do. Like we can we can connect the Power BI desktop dashboards. I mean Power BI reports directly to the Azure Insights using the M query, and you can get the data into the Power BI and generate whatever reports that you want to have it. We can do it directly onto the Power BI. That's the beauty of this application insights, this query language as well. So that's all I wanted to cover in this session. And please let me know if you have any questions.